Okay, here's question 11. It says, given that z is a standard normal random variable, compute the following probabilities. And because we've already got z-scores, and it's a standard normal distribution, basically all we're saying is, okay, here's the mean, here's the center point. We know the z-score at that point is 0, and we want to know, and it helps to draw the curve like this, what's the probability when z is less than or equal to -1. So there's my z-score at -1. I want to know this area because it says less than -1. So I go to my tables and I have at -1.0 a 0.1587. So this area is 0.1587. And that's the answer to 11A. 11B says, well, what happens when z is greater than -1? So basically it wants to know not this area, but this area over here. Okay? I'm going to use the complement rule and say, all right, well that has to be 1 minus 1587. So that's going to equal 0.8413. Okay? I could have also done this by looking at my standard normal table, finding the value at +1, and sure enough, that number 0.8413. All I'm basically doing is saying, there's this problem. If I turned it around and said, okay, I'm going to find this area, that would be 0.8413 at a z-score of +1. Okay? So next, z is greater than 1.5. And that's a -1.5. So I'll use this again. 1.5 is going to be, again, to the left of 0 and to the left of -1 z-score. And it wants to know when z is greater than 1.5. So it wants to know this area. Okay? So first thing I do is go to my table. The area from the left margin to -1.50, first column, is 0.0668. So from the left margin to here is 0.0668, like that. And again, we use the complement rule to say, okay, if we want to know the rest of the curve, we subtract it from 1, so 1 minus 0.0668 has got to be 0.9332. Again, if I wanted to, I could just flip this over. You can kind of even see the green markings there. Okay, I want to know this area. This is going to be at a +1.5. I go to my table. I go to +1.50, and that number there is 0.9332. 0.9332. That's from the left margin to that point. And that's the same answer that we got when we did it this way. Okay? Next, P, probability that z is greater than -2.5. All right? I'm just going to a different table because the top one's a little ugly now. And we're going to be down here, -2.5, and the probability is that z is greater than that. So again, we want to know this area. We find the area from the left margin to that point at -2.50. First column there is 0.0062. 0.0062. Everything else, 1 minus that. So 1 minus 0.0062 is 0.9938. Again, I could have done it this way. using a positive 2.5, and then going to my table, positive 2.50 is 0.9938. There's the answer again. Okay. And finally, D says it's between -3 and 0. So I'm going to use my blue pen here. Okay, here's where I have a z-score at 0. I know that half this curve is 0.5. Now they want to know between -3 and 0. Again, from the left margin to the -3 area is 0.0013. 0.0013. Okay. And when I subtract 0.0013 from 0.50, because the half of the curve is 0.50, I'm going to get 0.4987. Okay. So that's the end of question 11. Now we'll go on to the next one.